Greetings once again, Truth Session family. Of course, we had a little technical difficulty here, but we're back up and running. So hopefully, those of you who are having problems or saw that there were some technical difficulties are back in the house. We've restarted everything, so we're going to get right back at it, talking about these very, very powerful truths. But listen, I'm telling you, what we've been dealing with has been so powerful. And let me go back because we had to restart so that video won't be airing like that. So once again, I am the master teacher. That's right, the quantum shifter, the shape shifter, the code breaker. Coming at you live and you're living with color with 2,400 watts of power in this hour. That's right. Welcome back to another truth session where your thoughts really count. And the last time I checked, yes, indeed, they really matter. Thank you once again for being a part of this family, this session, this platform, where we've been dealing with some powerful information, life-changing, enlightening, full of authority, full of understanding, full of wisdom. And it will empower you to get to the best one of yourself. We've been dealing with some very powerful truths, talking about the quantum effects on relationships, quantum entanglement, how quantum principles can manifest healing. And we've been at it for over 2 months. And I'm telling you, there's so much information involved in what we're doing that, listen, if you take the time to try to understand it, it will, figuratively speaking, blow your mind. That's right, I'm sitting in the captain's seat once again for the one, the apostle, the prophet, the cosmic commander, who was on location last week, but yet, of course, always with us. And I'm telling you, we had an awesome time. And I'm not going to belabor this. I want to really get into this. And thank you to those who stayed with us and came right back in after we lost the feed. But thank you. We're going to talk about quantum principles and time today. And as you know, time has really been a key and focal point with what we're doing. No matter what I talked about, guess what? Time was of essence. There was a relationship with time. And so that's what we're going to deal with today, specifically quantum principles and time. That's right, what you hear in the background, of course, is our very own Prince of Peace. Making it do what it do, creating the atmosphere, a construct so that we all can flow. Not just me, but so that you can flow as well. It's very important that you download the information and the symbols and the chimes by our very own Kafira over there, making it do what it do. Listen, all of this plays a part in where we're going. It is a construct itself. And listen, it makes it so easy for me to flow when they're playing like that. I just get in that groove and just move. Oh my goodness. Quantum principles and time. Let me read something real quickly again. Going back to The Matrix Reloaded. And it's going to come into play a little bit later when I get to the very end of this. Watch this. From Caltech University, alumnus John Clausen said in the 1930s, when scientists, including Albert Einstein and Erwin Schrödinger, first discovered the phenomenon of entanglement, they were perplexed. Entanglement, disturbingly, required two separate particles to remain connected without being in direct contact. Einstein famously called entanglement spooky action at a distance, and we talked about that. Since the particles seem to be communicating faster than the speed of light. So you have to think about this. You got to reason with this and just hear what it's really saying and what it's not saying. If these particles are communicating faster than the speed of light, then we can surmise that it's happening so rapidly that it always was. It's happening so rapidly that time has no bearing on it. Oh, I'm going somewhere with that. So as the one has taught us, listen, we don't advance with time, we advance through time because it's a measuring stick. It always was. Because now we're advancing and passing on to a place where those things were pre-deposited in time. So we see now that quantum entanglement is happening as it advanced and passed on in time. So it has a measuring stick, it has a locality, as I'm getting ready to talk about, and a causality. Watch this. To explain the bizarre implications of entanglement, Einstein, along with Boris Podolsky and Nathan Rosen, calling themselves EPR, argued that hidden variables should be added to quantum mechanics to explain entanglement and to restore locality and causality. To restore locality and causality. So things are happening, or there's a cause and effect that's affecting locality, but it's at a distance as well. Look at this. Locality states that objects are only influenced by their immediate surroundings. Causality states that effect cannot occur because it's cause. And their causal signaling cannot propagate faster than the speed of light. Watch this. Niels Bohr famously disputed EPR's argument, while Schrödinger and Wendell Fury, in response to EPR, independently hypothesized the entanglement theory. Watch this. And if you recall in the movie The Matrix Reloaded, causality took place like this. Morpheus discussed causality in the movie The Matrix Reloaded during a conversation with the Merovingian, a program, you got to see it was a program, that acts as a powerful figure in the Matrix. The scene takes place in the Merovingians' lavish restaurants. How many of you recall that? Watch this. Here's the scene description. It's preparing me to go somewhere else. Location. There's locality. Or locality. The Merovingians' restaurant. Context. Neo, Morpheus, and Trinity meet the Merovingian to seek his help in finding the key maker. The one with the keys. We were talking about that a little earlier. The keys, the unlocking tools. That's what these quantum principles are doing for you. They're unlocking so many things, whether you know it or not. Eventually, as you continue to hear, to listen, and to download, they are going to manifest. So if things have been manifesting for you here and there, and all of a sudden you just see a jump, a causality, a frequency, they're supposed to be happening because we're creating a construct for them to happen. Watch this. During the conversation, the Merovingian gives a monologue about the concept of causality, emphasizing the idea that everything happens for a reason and that every action has a cause. And I once mentioned that in the movie Waist Deep, one of the songs at the very end on the soundtrack was "Everything Happens for a Reason." The way everything developed in that movie, it happened for a reason. Watch this, and I quote. The Merovingian says, causality, action, reaction, cause and effect. He said that. He illustrates this by sending a piece of cake to a woman in the restaurant, subtly manipulating her emotions. Wow. To demonstrate his control over events. Quantum entanglement. Morpheus doesn't directly discuss this himself, but it was the conversation and the philosophy of the Merovingian. He was bringing out causality, which plays a major part in quantum physics, quantum entanglement. Now let me go there. Dealing with time. Quantum entanglement, dealing with time. Watch this. Boy, these notes, I think that it was constructed, man, very powerful. And let me get this right here real quickly. Let me go back to this and see. We got it. It's the timeline here. Move that down. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Quantum principles and time. I want you to know you have entered the truth session. That's right, the one. Come on here. Watch this. Quantum principles have intriguing and often complex connections with the concept of time, which challenges, and we've been talking about this, which challenges classical concepts and understanding of how time really operates. Boy, this gets deep. These connections arise from various phenomena and interpretation of quantum physics. Watch these powerful keys. And remember, everything is connecting to time, quantum principles and time. Last week we talked about superposition, and the week before that, superposition. I told you everything is connected, man, and it is mind-blowing. In quantum mechanics, particles can exist in a state of superposition. Watch this. Where they occupy multiple states or locations simultaneously until they are observed and measured. So the moment you can observe them and measure them, they cease to exist in multiple states. But because they're quantum principles, guess what? They automatically and quite naturally operate in multiple states. Woo. Which means quantum particles never stop moving. Which means you never stop moving. Yeah, that's something to think about. See, your spirit, your energy never stops moving. Your physical body sometimes stands still. But even with your physical body standing still, guess what? The quantum you never stops moving. The idea challenges the classical notion of time. Just get ready to get deep. As a linear sequence of events where something exists as in one state at a given time. So what this is saying that according to classical physics and classical ideas, time exists in a sequential manner and things happen only one event at a time. Here's the connection to time. But superposition suggests that time may not be straightforward as perceived. Hold on. Let me go back. Superposition says time may not be straightforward as perceived. So you and I think of time as 1 minute after the other. 1 minute after the other. Time is moving, it's progressing. Watch this. If particles can exist in multiple states at once, then time may not be as simple. As we've often thought it to be. It may not be a simple progression, but something more complex. Watch this. It may possibly even be influenced by observation and measurement. So what's observation and measurement? What does it connect to? Quantum principle. Superposition. I'm going to keep building this. Now we talked about quantum entanglement and non-locality. So quantum entanglement is a phenomenon where, of course, two particles are linked together but may not be at the same location. Locality. Exist in different states. Vast differences. But this instantaneous interaction occurs immediately, faster than the speed of light. Quantum entanglement. Wow. In other words, information can be shared outside of natural constraints. So information has no constraint to it. because it operates outside of normal time, outside of the speed of light. So you have to surmise how fast information is moving. Sometimes information goes in and out of us, bores in and out of us, and we don't pay attention to it. We don't even know that we're being endowed with information. It's hitting us so rapidly. It's awakening our particles. It's touching the very quintessence of who we are, touching the core of who we are. It's going in and out, in and out. It's pulling information out of us. It's sending it other places, gathering in information, causing all things to connect. Watch this. Quantum entanglement and non-locality connection to time. Entanglement challenges our view of causality and time. Wow. Suggesting that events can be correlated in ways that defy convenient flow. So it defies a natural, convenient flow that we've always observed, how things progress. Boy, I'm getting to something with this time. Just hold on. So it raises questions about the nature of time at a quantum level. So there's time at a quantum level. And guess what? It suggests that time at a quantum level is non-linear. Hold on. Wait a minute. What is the root word in linear? Line. So at a quantum level, time does not exist on a linear level. Ooh. Boy, I'm setting you up for some good stuff. So time does not exist on a linear level when it comes to quantum mechanics and quantum physics. Or could events that are at distance in space be connected across time? Okay? Watch this. I'm laying out the different subtopics, but I'm going somewhere. Time symmetry, time reversal, and quantum mechanics. So time symmetry and time reversal. In classical physics, most processes follow the arrow of time, moving from the past to future, known as time asymmetry. However, fundamental equations of quantum mechanics are time symmetric, not time asymmetric, time symmetric, meaning that they do not distinguish between time moving forward or backwards. Oh my goodness. So when it comes to quantum mechanics, quantum theories, quantum ideas, it's time symmetric. In other words, it doesn't distinguish between time moving forward and backwards. So guess what? Time exists when time exists. When time happens, it happens. So the reason we can venture back in time and grab information because it's simultaneous. It exists when it exists. It has no barrier or constraint. It can go back and move forward. And it's simultaneous. And it's all instantaneous. So it's like it's always happening. Wow. That's why we're always moving back in time, picking up some key tools. We recall things that happened 40 years ago and 20 years ago and 30 years ago in a period that it just happened. And you'll feel it in your body, man. You'll feel it in your spirit. You'll sense it. You'll feel it in the pit of your stomach. Because we simultaneously go back and forth. Time symmetry and time reversal. Watch this. Watch this connection. The fact that quantum equations work equally well if time runs backwards suggests that at the quantum level, time may not be a preferred direction which of course challenges everyday understanding of time. But it implies that quantum systems may behave similarly where time is flowing forward, backwards, unlike a macroscopic world that we live in, which dictates a clear arrow of time. Now, I've got a couple more principles here. Wow. We talked about the Pauli uncertain principle, which states that certain pairs of physical properties like position and momentum cannot be precisely measured simultaneously. So the Heisenberg principle or uncertainty principle, you can see that the language ties you directly back to quantum principles, quantum physics, quantum mechanics. This interdependency or indeterminacy can also extend to measurements involving time and energy. So interdeterminacy spells out the fact that, listen, with all these actions, it's hard to pinpoint a locality, a measurement, a speed. It's indeterminate. That's what indeterminacy is. It is hard to determine what's happening because one, it's happening so rapidly and nothing has stopped moving. So you can't detect momentum, locality at the same time. One would have to decrease while the other one increases. Watch the connection. In quantum mechanics, the exact measurement of time or energy leads to uncertainties in other quantities, which creates a form of temporal indeterminacy, suggesting that at a quantum level, we're talking about at a quantum level, time cannot always be precisely defined, and events may have inherent uncertainties about when they occur. Wow. Notice every time we describe something, there's always that little foggy area in time, positioning, because things are constantly switching back and forth, so they get twisted sometimes unless you keenly hone in on them. You start explaining concepts, they tie into everything else because we keep going backwards and forward. Wow. Listen, if you're on this timeline, hit me with those heart emojis. Let me take a quick station identification break because I want to drop these last few principles on you. And you're going to see how it all connects. We talked about causality, so I want to hit that real quickly. While I take this nectar break by our very own songbird KD up in the house. KD Ray. Or should I say, Royal Ray. Watch this. Just briefly with this one, quantum tunneling. How many of you recall that? We talked about that. Quantum tunneling. How at times we bore through certain things to get certain things on the other side of time done without affecting the integrity of it. So all of that has a time implication. Watch this. Quantum tunneling is the phenomenon where a particle can pass through a potential energy or energy barrier that it classically should not be penetrating or tunneling through. The time it takes, watch this, the time it takes for a particle to tunnel is not straightforward. So there is some uncertainty. There's the Pauli uncertainty principle with time, leading to debates about how time is defined in such processes. So there's been debates about time. Is it moving forward? Is it spread out? Are we simultaneously existing in other realms, in other worlds? How fast is this information moving? Are quantum principles moving faster than the speed of light? Is quantum entanglement moving faster than the speed of light? Well, we've learned that yes, it's simultaneously existing, which leads me to believe that it existed all along. What's the connection? Notice I've been giving you the information, then the connections. What is its connection to time? Quantum tunneling introduces a scenario which our classical understanding of time seems to break down. Some suggestions suggest that tunneling occurs instantaneously, while others propose that it involves a strange, non-classical passage of time. Notice when breakthroughs happen for us, they happen instantaneously. You don't see them dragging on where it's a breakthrough because it would defy what breakthrough is. So with tunneling, it's an instantaneous breakthrough. That's why it seems like we could be going through something for 10 days and instantly it's over. All it's doing is connecting to the succession of time that involves quantum principles, quantum tunneling, and the uncertainty principle. It's all connected. But watch this. This phenomenon indicates that time at the quantum level may behave in a way that differs from our intuitive sense of progression, our intuitive senses. So, the one and I had a conversation regarding spooky action at a distance, saying that at that quantum level, it's happening and progressing, but it's commonplace. It's not spooky action at a distance on a quantum level. So here, quantum tunneling happens on an intuitive level, but at that quantum state, not on a natural causality level. Which takes me to quantum. Woo! I see you the one, he said, time bumping into time because it's moving so fast. That's too deep to be steep. Time bumping into time because it's moving so rapidly. And that's exactly what our particles do, our electrons do. They're moving so rapidly, bumping into time. Thank you for that, the one. Watch this, quantum gravity in time. Quantum mechanics and general relativity, as Einstein talked about the theory of relativity, describe the universe on very different scales. Quantum mechanics govern the behavior of very small particles. General relativity describes time and space on a cosmic scale. But one of the major challenges, in physics is reconciling the two theories, particularly when it comes to the nature of time. In general relativity, time is affected by gravity. Watch this, and can be warped or stretched. I'm gonna leave it right there. I hear you, the one, I hear you. Yeah, time can be warped or stretched, which is affected by gravity. However, quantum mechanics treat time as an absorbed or absolute parameter that doesn't change. Whoa. Quantum mechanics treat time as an absolute parameter that doesn't change. The one has been saying this for a long time. It's not changing. We're advancing to it. Watch this. Finding a unified theory of quantum gravity would involve understanding time behaviors, both on a small and a large scale. So we've been dealing with stuff on a small and large scale, giving us insights to how things operate in time. Principle number 8, I see you. Pound intuition, pound warp time. Yes, indeed, the one. Here's my second to last theory. I'm getting to that last one. Watch this. Quantum field theory and the flow of time. In QFT, that's quantum field theory, particles are seen as excitations and fields and permeate space and time. They're permeating space and time, exiting in and out. Time in QFT, or quantum field theory, is treated as a coordinate. Oh my goodness. Similar to space. Now, for the past 2 weeks, I've been teaching my students coordinates and space, dealing with the Cartesian coordinate system, just working with it on yesterday. So it just ties right into what we're talking about. However, there are ongoing debates about these fundamental principles and how they emerge. Understanding fundamental quantum processes. Here's this connection to time. If time is emergent, as some theories suggest, it might not be a primary feature of the universe of byproducts of quantum mechanics or quantum mechanic interactions at deeper levels. Watch this. This would radically change our understanding of time, suggesting that it only appears to flow in certain conditions, but could behave differently under different quantum states. Listen, that's what we've been talking about. Time behaves differently when it comes to quantum states, quantum mechanics. So we see things flowing and moving forward, but when it comes to quantum connections and quantum theory and quantum principles, time behaves differently. Time will exist in one state, then exist in another state, then it'll go backwards, then it'll move forward. So it's in every state. Watch this. Woo! Quantum entanglement and retrocausality. I'll say that again. Quantum entanglement and retrocausality. Watch this. This is an emerging field of study that explores the possibility of retrocausality. Now, what did I say about causality over here? Causality states that, and this is from Caltech University, causality states that an effect cannot occur because of its cause, and that causality signaling cannot propagate faster than the speed of light. But Niels Bohr famously disputed EPR's argument, while Schrodinger and Wendell Fury independently hypothesized that entanglement vanishes with wide particle separation. Causality that the Merovingian spoke about and the Matrix Reloaded. Causality. Wow. Watch this. So retrocausality deals with where events occur, or should I say, as I wrote, future events can influence the past. Future events can influence the past. That's retrocausality. You know how we look in retrospect to something? And we go back and look at those principles and we gather that stuff in, and then we change the future. We change what we do because we recognize what happened back then. Maybe we didn't pay attention to it back then. And we go back and get that information, bring it forward, and cause it to operate, and then it affects our future. Retrocausality. A concept that is completely at odds with classical physics. and it's supposed to be, but is allowed by some interpretations of quantum mechanics. Watch this. It opens up a whole new way of thinking of how time flows. So, quantum entanglement, quantum principles in time don't operate the way we see it. Right now, it's 5:02. In another minute, it'll be 5:03. 2 minutes past that is 5:04. But when it comes to retrocausality, quantum mechanics and quantum physics, guess what? It doesn't operate like that. It automatically goes back, forward, as the songwriter said, back and forth, our love goes back and forth. I think that was Cameo. Back and forth. So with causality or retrocausality, quantum mechanics, quantum entanglement, guess what? Time moves back and forth. It doesn't exist the way we think of it. Time becomes what it is. It exists when it has to exist. It will exist in a certain state to get a certain thing done and then come right back to this time frame present. So time is everywhere. Exists in multiple states. Getting done what needs to get done because it has to get it done. Quantum entanglement, retrocausality, its connection. Quantum particles may have effects that reach back in time. Quantum particles have an effect that can reach back in time. Palagenesia is the one talked about. To go back in time, oh my goodness. To go back in time, straighten the thing out, move back forward, cause it to operate. In my conclusion, watch this. Retrocausality would mean that time is not strictly one directional, and that events in the future could influence the past. Whoa, hold up somebody. Normally we just say that things of the past affect things of the future. But because of quantum principles and retrocausality, no, things of the future can affect things in the past. I'm gonna let that one sink in for just a second. A concept that is completely against what's called classical physics. And see, I know because I studied classical physics. I studied quantum physics. So I had the ability to compare and contrast. So I understand this is right on point. It gives you the ability to go back in time and then to move forward and cause some things done to straighten out the past. I'm going to hold on to this one. Because the more I study it, the more it proves itself. The more I think back to things happening in the past, the more it proves itself. The more I set up my future, the more I see how it's connected to the past. And how it straightens out my present. This will change the way we think about how time moves. And it shows that time is not strictly one directional. Wow. There's some indeterminacy. There is some reversal of times. There's some entanglement, some enlargements, some connections, some deeper questions, some deeper philosophy that's involved. There's a different study and nature of time. So we need to be studying time on a different level, understanding how time exists, where it exists, what does it manifest, what does it cause to manifest, where does it manifest, how. What are powerful aspects of time? I see you the one. Pound causality. Pound palagenesia. Pound regeneration. Listen, those of you who will be watching this feed later, I admonish you to go back and just absorb some of this information, because what it's going to do is just touch the very quintessence of what you've already downloaded in the past. All of our quantum principles and theories and ideas, they're going to connect. And there may be a time when you may have to sit down and go through them one by one. Maybe 2 videos, maybe 3 videos to see how all this connects. And you will understand that all along you've been too deep to reach deep yourself. Thank you for the Heart's Busy Inspirations Queen. Listen, family. This is my landing spot. And I know for a fact that this one ought to hold you. So just as the one always tell us, hold what you got. Muse over it. Cogitate upon it. Ponder over it. But by all means, come on and govern yourselves accordingly with this information. Until next time, Shalom Aleichem, Mystery Call, family.